listen, women over 40 who are child-free, who never been married, still flexing like it's the 99 2000s, they have problems.
I was going to lie and say, I don't know who needs to hear this. That's not true. I know exactly who needs to hear this. Women over the age of 40, 45, definitely older than that. You need to hear this. Men think that at any stage of life, if they don't have children, they've never been married, it is a badge of honor. I'm here to tell you that that is not true. After dating men who are over the age of 45, never been married, never had children, my perspective, I'm not saying all, I don't know all men. I don't want to know all men. The ones that I have met, though, fall into a few categories. I'm not sure you want to go down this road. You do? Godspeed. God be with you. Prayers, thoughts, all of that are needed. One, they are severely attached, emotionally, financially, in some cases, attached to their mothers. The enmeshment is it knows no bounds. Enmeshment is ridiculous. That is the real reason why they have never married.
Okay, a couple of things. I want you to flip the genders, and I want you now to imagine this conversation being okay, right? Like if a Black man went online and said, listen, women over 40 who are child-free, who never been married, still flexing like it's the 99 2000s, they have problems. Now, here's the thing. You have had men who have openly come online and said, listen, past a certain age, you hit the wall, et cetera, et cetera. My point is they get a lot of feedback. They get a lot of negativity. Those men are oftentimes labeled as misogynoir, as hating their moms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, my thing is, I think it's very easy for women, as women, I think it's very easy for us to criticize men while not holding ourselves to the same standards. I don't know anything about her. I'm wondering if she herself is single and child-free and never been married. She's in the dating market. We know that. So presumably she's not married. But yeah, I wonder what makes her come online and say this. And I wonder if she holds the same energy for women, or if it comes to a woman who's 40 and child-free, never been married, if the narrative is going to be, it's because she didn't want to settle, and because, she loved herself so much, and because she knew her worth and she was waiting for Prince Charming. Because that's usually how the narrative goes. If it's a woman who's over 40, no children, never been married, then the narrative is she's not settling. I know women who are exactly that, who are over 40, who are child-free, who never been married, and they're not going to settle. I'm serious. I know a woman like that. So it's interesting how the narrative changes, because when it is a man and he's at that point, it's just like, what's wrong with him? Does he have mommy issues? Is he emotionally inept? Is he gay? That's how the conversation goes internally. So what I'm saying is that I think sometimes we can tend to have more grace for women when they're in the exact same situation, because it's the man's fault. If a woman is single, over 40, child-free, never had kids, it's the man's fault. But if a man is that, it's the man's fault. In any situation, in all situations, it is always the man's fault. Let's continue.
Others have taught them that the only woman that's good enough for them is them. Others have taught them the only woman who's ever going to really love them and appreciate them and give them what they want in life is them.
Listen, she's right. There are some emotionally emasculated men out there who have moms who treat them like son husbands. That is real. There are moms out there who they do all some weird manipulative kind of stuff. Maybe they never had a man. Maybe the only man that they had that was as stable and consistent was their son. That is a real thing. Now, I don't know that I could say that all men who are in that category fit that, but that is a real thing.
There's hardest of past this. Number two, men who have not been able to admit or come out of the closet or admit that they prefer men.
Okay, so like I said, gay. They're gay. Again, I just want you to flip the genders. A woman who was over 40, child-free, never been married. Is it because she a lesbian? Or is it because she's not settling? The dating market is trash. The dating pool has piss in it. She needs to know her worth, and she's not ever going to lower her worth or her value until a man can reach her level. Like, which is it? Is it because she's a lesbian, or is it because men are trash? As I'm saying, the narrative changes based upon the gender.
Could be religious, cultural, social combination. There's a reason why they've not been able to live their authentic lives since they've just been single for a long time.
Well, I don't know that you can necessarily say that a man who's been single hasn't been lived their authentic life. There are plenty of men who've gotten married older or settled down older who have lived their authentic life. Plenty of men. The thing about it is men don't have the same biological clock as women do. They just don't. They can get married at 45 and 50 and start a completely new family. They can easily find a woman half their age if that's what they want. If they want to start a family and they want to have a woman who can have multiple kids or whatever, they can actually easily do that more so than women, because men are oftentimes valued for experience, for money, for wealth, for all of those different things, for even for career progress. They can do that without a problem, especially if they look good and take care of themselves. So I don't know that you can say that, oh, men aren't living their authentic self because they haven't decided to have settle down and have kids. There are men who actually kind of love being single. Some of them are just kind of philandering around or just kind of sleeping around, and they're just kind of, doing their thing, and they haven't found anyone that's inspired them to want to settle down. Some of them are just kind of like chilling at feet. Like there's all different things, but I don't know that you can say, oh, a man isn't living his authentic self because he hasn't had a child and been married. We can't say that because this logic wouldn't apply to women. It wouldn't.
Hard to attach. They're not single because they want to be single. They're single because they don't want to be with women. They can't be with who they want to be with. Stop chasing these men. You're barking up the wrong tree. If you want a lavender marriage, by all means, have that. Just know you're sauntering into a lavender marriage.
Okay, so she's talking about, men who are, again, this does happen. Though there are situations where that happens. To what level, to what rate, I don't know. And honestly, women are more gay. Black women are generally more queer than black men. I think women collectively identify as being more queer. So, I've been here. I feel like this may apply to women more than men. I don't know. Yeah.
3, men who have a God complex. They genuinely think they're too good for women. They also have this Madonna whore complex thing going on. They want you to be perfect, unsullied, even though you're in your 40s, 50s, whatever. Don't have children, never been married. Child, you're late. You missed her perfection years, and you sure enough took advantage of other women's perfection years. Now you still want to find perfection in your 40s and 50s? Really? Sir, those are the men who say, I'm real picky. I just like things a certain way. No, sir. You are emotionally unavailable and probably financially unavailable too. They're probably cheap, my experience, emotionless, detached. Girl, move on. I'm not saying all men are this way. After 45, 40 even, being never married and having no children is not the flex you thought it was, sir, in your 20s and 30s. All right? You gotta grow up. All right, love you, bye.
Okay. Well, she has the right to her own. She has the right to her own opinion. I can't say that I agree really with it, because the whole framing is like men who are in that are basically a problem. There's something wrong with them, and basically in some way, shape, or form, they are, what's the word? They are stunted. And I'm saying if we want to apply that logic to men, then we would also have to apply that logic to women. And if she's willing to apply that logic to women, then I'll say, okay, then I'd give it to her. But if we create whole different standards and whole different ideas and a different narrative around it with respect to women, then I would question it. Now, men and women are not the same, they're not. But women actually have more of a biological imperative to be married, to have kids by 40. So I'm like, if this applies to men, well, then how much more would this apply to women because of the biological imperative and because of just simply, they have a shorter window, to a certain extent. So anyways, I don't know. What do y'all think about this whole thing? I find it so interesting how a lot of times when a person has relationship challenges or issues, when I see women talk about it, it's always Jermaine's fault. Like, very often I hear them talking about the ways in which men are not showing up. I just don't always hear a lot of self-reflection. Now, granted, this is just one video. I don't know, maybe she has other videos where she's being self-reflective and talking about her challenges. So, I'm not saying she's necessarily in that category, but I am saying a lot of times when I hear relationship dialogue and frustration that women have, it is very easy, and so often I hear them talking about the ways in which men are just not it, and I just don't hear a ton of self-reflection. But y'all, those are my thoughts. What do you think about this whole thing? Let me know your thoughts out of the comment section. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.